guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. If it is your first time here, my name is Valeria, and today I have a very random video for you guys. It's just 30 facts about me. I had so much fun coming up with this list and thinking back to my childhood and just reflecting on things, and I'm looking forward to seeing down in the comments random facts about you. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, I am 22 years old and I will be 23 on December 30th. I got married at only 19 years old, and there's so much more that I have to say about that, like from my overall experience of getting married so young to like even just the wedding day. I have so much to say about that because it was very eventful. My husband was actually late to our wedding. You better believe that I remind him all the time that he was late to our wedding. I have been dating my husband since we were both 15 years old. I have always been an animal lover ever since I can remember. In fact, ever since I was a little kid, I used to find cats like it was nobody's business. I used to find cats and kittens, and I feel like they used to find me. Like sometimes I would come home and there would be a kitten like at my front door just waiting for me, and it was so weird, but I would always pick them up and bring them inside and hide them for however long I could. And then whenever my mom would find out that I had a cat, I would get in trouble, and then she would make me put them back wherever it is that I found them. I didn't speak until I was 4 years old, and friends and family would always tell my mom that, that she should have me tested. So she did, just to see if there was anything wrong with me, and the doctors would tell her that there was nothing wrong with me. And honestly, she knew that there was nothing wrong with me. She was very confident. The only word that I would say was mom, and she always tells this story of how she knew for certain that I was aware of my surroundings. I guess when I was very young, she found me crying, and it was just the two of us living together. So she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And she looked at the TV, and it was a movie about a dog, and I guess that the dog had been caught by the dog catcher, and that's why I was crying. So she definitely knew that I was understanding. Even if I wasn't expressing it in words, I was expressing it in my own way, and I think I was just lazy. I don't know. I don't know how to say no. I am really nice. I never really think about how something will affect me. Like if I say yes, I never really think of what consequences it may have for me. If somebody needs something, I never even think about it. I don't hesitate. And honestly, that has put me in a lot of awkward situations, and as a married woman, it has put me and my husband in very awkward situations. So for his sake, I am trying to work on that. Not on being nice, there's something wrong on being nice, but just, thinking things through a little bit more. When I was young, I had a very irrational fear of being on the news. I don't know where that came from. I don't know. I think that it was rooted in me being very shy. I used to be really afraid that something would happen to me that would land me on the news, which is really crazy. Like the fact that I wasn't scared of something bad happening to me because I was afraid for my own well-being, but just because people would see me on television, like my friends and stuff, and would recognize me, I was terrified. I was so scared that I would ever be on the news. It's so weird. I don't really have more to say about that because I can't explain it. Whenever I tell people that I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, there's like a 50-50 chance that they're going to ask if I can give them or their family therapy or counseling, and it's usually in a joking way, but I always just have to say no. Like, I need a master's and a license at least. So sorry, no. I don't even know if that counts as a fact about me, but it happens to me a lot. I just thought it was noteworthy. I am a Christian. I wasn't raised a Christian, but I am one now, and I couldn't be happier. So in this part, I was going to mention to you guys my special talents, and I guess my fun fact or random fact is that I don't have special talent. I wish that I did, and so sorry to be so underwhelming. I used to mumble a lot as a child. I used to have to repeat myself a lot because people weren't understanding what I was saying. Like I just wouldn't open my mouth enough whenever I was speaking, and I kind of got over that, but it's still something that I am very aware of and conscious of whenever I do speak. If I don't pay attention to that, I do tend to go back to my old ways and mumble and kind of slur my words a little bit. Throughout my 4 years of high school, I was in marching band. I didn't play an instrument in marching band, although I did play the violin and viola in the orchestra. I was actually in color guard, so I used to dance around with the flags and the rifles and the sabers, which is super interesting because like I said, I was super shy as a kid, and I don't know what I was thinking when I auditioned when I was 14 years old, but I stuck it through all the way until I was 18 years old, even though it never got easier. Like, I was always so nervous. I felt like I was gonna throw up before every performance, but honestly, it was worth it. It was worth like all the friends that I made, all the trips that I went on, and that's where I met my husband, because my husband was a drummer in the marching band. And even though it is one of the hardest things that I have ever done, it is also the best thing that has ever happened to me. I have 4 Chihuahuas, and then I got a cat, and lastly I got a German Shepherd, and that's a lot even for me, and it's definitely a lot for my husband. And I think we're gonna stop right there. I think our hands are pretty full in the pet department. I'm not really picky with food. The one thing that I just can't do is sushi. I don't know why. I'm also a pescatarian, so I don't eat meat, which I guess is kind of picky, but I mean, if it doesn't have meat, I will eat it as long as it's not sushi, I guess. Is that picky? I could eat ramen for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No lie, everybody in my family knows this. I love ramen, especially like the Maruchan, the cup ones. One year my brothers actually put a box of ramen under the Christmas tree for me. Like, they wrapped it and everything. It was so cute, and they knew it would make me happy, and it did make me happy. I think high school is like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I know it's super dramatic, but honestly, I always wanted to be homeschooled, which is another like fact about me. I always asked to be homeschooled. But my mom said no. I think it's so interesting when people are like, this is when you're gonna make your best memories, and I didn't like it. I was so happy that it was over. I don't know if it was like that social aspect or just like that stage in life where you're like having an identity crisis, and maybe that just affects the way I see like high school, and maybe high school wasn't the problem. I don't know, but it was hard. I find social settings very exhausting and very draining, and for the most part I do try to avoid them, except when it's like family stuff. And although I do find it again exhausting and draining, I usually tend to have a really good time, and I love talking to people and catching up. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Even though I was in color guard and danced in front of people for 4 whole years, I don't like to dance. I don't dance. I feel like I have no rhythm, and I just feel super awkward. And I also don't like parties because of how loud they tend to be, and usually too loud to like have a conversation. So yeah, I don't like parties, I guess is what I'm saying. And what's really interesting about that is that when I was young and I started going to parties for the first time, like maybe when I was like 14, 15, I thought that I was really weird, and I thought that I was like the odd one out for not liking them, because it seemed like everybody else around me was having a great time. Honestly, I just hadn't found the right group of friends yet, and when I found them, it was the best thing ever. I'm really good at conversation, but only on a one-to-one basis. Like, for example, whenever we have a meeting, I feel like a lot of people are really good at just voicing their opinion and giving their ideas and just throwing ideas and thoughts out there, which is so great when you're working as a team, because it just helps things move forward. But I'm kind of the one to just kind of wait for somebody else to say what I'm thinking. Then if it's really important, like maybe I'll go to the manager after the meeting, and I only say things if I feel like they need to be said. Like, if they don't need to be said, like, why am I gonna waste anybody's time, you know? Like, I don't know, it's really weird, especially like in a professional setting. I just can't get myself to put myself out there. I don't know, I guess I don't like being the center of attention, and I don't like to waste people's time. So unless I have something really important that needs to be said, I will say something, but usually on a one-on-one basis to the person that needs to hear it, and not like to everybody, because I don't know, it's weird. I am the oldest of 5. So after my parents got divorced, my mom had 2 sons and my dad had 2 sons. So I have 4 younger brothers, and if any of them are watching this video, shout out to you guys. And just know that no matter what you do in life and no matter where life takes you, I am the proudest big sister ever. And I love you. I was raised by a single mom of 3, and she's my hero. And quite frankly, I don't know how she did it, especially on her budget. Like, I can hardly take care of myself. I don't know. I'm in awe. I don't know how she did it, but she did. And I think she did a pretty darn good job, if I do say so myself. I struggle to make hard decisions. I am such an overthinker. I think things so thoroughly, and my husband gets really annoyed with me sometimes because he's like, you're so indecisive. And I'm like, I'm not indecisive. I'm just thinking about all of the possible outcomes and all the possible ways that something can go. Now when I do make a decision, I change my mind like 5 minutes later and I go back to being uncertain or undecided because I can't help it. My first job straight out of college was a case manager position at a shelter for undocumented minors, and it was really hard on me emotionally. All I can say is compassion exhaustion is a real thing, and I couldn't sleep for the first 3 months. But now that I have a little bit more experience, I think that now would be a good time to go back to case managing. But nonetheless, it was really hard on me. I think my age had a lot to do with it. I, didn't know the realities of the world that much, and it hit me hard. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I think I skipped one. So I am Mexican, like I mentioned before. I was not born in Mexico, but I was mostly raised in Mexico. I was actually born in Southern California. Then as a baby, I went back to Ensenada, Baja California, and then I came back when I was like 9 or 10. So that's why you may notice that my English kind of fails me sometimes, which really sucks because my English is not perfect and my Spanish is not perfect. So one is not that great because I started learning it a little bit later in life, and the other one's not that great because I stopped practicing it pretty early in life. So it's like, it sucks. My favorite show ever is The Office. At first I thought it was kind of weird and awkward and I kind of hated it, but now it's my favorite. I take all of that back that I once said about it. We don't tend to watch a lot of TV shows here because I just find it like so time consuming, but usually we'll have something on while we're having dinner, and definitely The Office is our to-go show. For a while it was Family Guy, but then they took it off of Netflix, so now we watch The Office and we've seen it so many times. And I actually plan to throw my husband a birthday party that is The Office themed for his next birthday. So that's gonna be December 19th. We were only born 11 days apart. Isn't that crazy? I have always known that I am going to adopt. I don't know how or why or when I came to that realization, but I do know that it's something that will come to pass. So when I was little, I used to think that if I jumped on my bed really hard, it would break the floor, and then the bed would fall into the floor with me on it, and then I would fall into a bottomless pit of nothingness. And I don't know where I got that from, but it convinced me to stop jumping on the bed. So you're welcome, Mom. My biggest pet peeve is when people litter. When I see people like throwing their trash out of the car, or I see people walking and just drop a wrapper. Just thinking about it makes me so upset. I don't know why. I can't stand it. It's kind of like when my husband leaves something out and I'm like, who do you expect to clean this up for you? Like, I just get so offended. Like, I know it's so dumb. I just can't explain or even put into words how much I hate that, but that's definitely my biggest pet peeve in the whole wide world. And lastly, I don't really have a 30th fact, but I don't like odd numbers and I like even numbers and patterns, which is so weird. Like when I was a kid, I couldn't even draw a realistic like picture because whenever I had to draw stars in the sky or birds in the sky, I can't really draw them at random. I would always put them in like some weird unreal formation or like alignment. Like even the little like pieces of grass that I used to always draw, like the little like squigglies, they were also in some kind of formation that made it very unrealistic, and I don't know why. I just couldn't help myself. Everything just had to have some kind of pattern. Even if I tried to make it at random, it always ends up being some kind of pattern. And yeah, that's very random, but that's all I have for you guys today. Again, I look forward to seeing you guys' comments down below of just random things about you. And thank you so much for staying all the way until the end. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!